I will be explaining the movie titled, Blasted. Stein, the administrator of the Hestelin Observatory, is out in the cave shooting some content for the Mystery Ladies channel. The administrator is interested in using the platform to showcase the work they do, but Mystery Lady is only interested in the inexplicable lights that have been observed in the area. Some theories state that it's the work of extraterrestrials, but Stein tries to give a more ordinary answer. The two then make their way into one of the caves while Mystery Lady vlogs. Things start to get strange when one of the administrator's instruments starts to pick up abnormal readings. They follow it and accidentally activate a door that definitely seems a little too high-tech to be in a cave. This is a bit too spooky even for the lady. As they proceed inside, she notices a slimy green substance that line the cave walls. Stein walks around awe-stricken with what they have just found. She comes across a device covered in cobwebs, and like a typical scientist, she can't help but touch it. This causes a green static shock between the two, which activates it. An energy blast knocks her back unconscious. Mystery shakes her back to consciousness before resuming the vlog. She really has that content over everything mindset. However, this proves to be a fatal mistake as a possessed Stein tackles her from behind. Events move to the city where Pelle stylishly delivers lunch to some white-collar workers. At the office below, his friend Sebastian nervously prepares for a presentation for Casper Schellon, a very wealthy and business-savvy guy. His best friend Audun brings him a cup of green tea to calm him down, and he gives him some words of encouragement. He excitedly lets Sebastian know that he has organized a surprise bachelor party in a cabin at Hestelin that weekend. Pelle joins the conversation in time to hear the plans, but the husband-to-be turns it down, stating that he's been carefully planning for the last 6 years to secure this deal. As he thanks his visible disappointed friend for the effort, Audun alerts him that Casper is in the building. He psychs himself up before entering into the meeting, but all the preparation does not really cover for his lack of charisma. His poor performance makes Casper leave the presentation prematurely. He chases after the big man, who lets him know that he's too basic, and if he wants to play with the big boys, he has to step it up with excitement and far-out experiences. So he invites Casper to the bachelor's party in an attempt to win his approval. He rushes to Audun, pleading for him to put on the best party ever. Sebastian gets home after work and is greeted by his fiancée Josephine, who is excited to hear the results of his big meeting. She tones things down a bit and starts to console him when he alerts her that the deal didn't land, but he assures her that he has a second chance. She informs him that his mother stopped by with some things to inspire their wedding, including their wedding bed. In it was an old newspaper clipping of him and his childhood best friend Mikkel, who qualified for the Laser Tab World Cup. His fiancée is so thrilled to learn such interesting trivia about her husband, but she's a little curious about the status of his childhood best friend, as she has never heard of him. Sebastian briefly informs her that he's still playing laser tag before exiting the conversation. He sits in a room to better plan the bachelor's party, since his career progression depends on it. The weekend comes by, and along with it the party. Sebastian nervously waits with Audun for Pelle and Casper to arrive at a local pub. The rich guy pulls up in a sports car that runs on some one-of-a-kind engine. After they all admire it, he gives Sebastian a gift to wear. Not wanting to offend, he quickly rushes inside the toilet to wear it and embarrassingly comes out with a bare outfit. He prepares himself to give a fake happy reaction, but it turns to genuine apprehension when he sees his old friend Mikkel chatting with Casper and the rest. He goes back to fake excitement as he greets him. Mikkel starts bringing up his old nickname Boner, which definitely has an embarrassing story behind it. Casper is interested in hearing it, so invites Mikkel to join him on the drive to Hestelin. Sebastian berates Audun for inviting Mikkel, but he reveals that Josephine instructed him to do so. The damage is already done, so the group set off and later arrive at their destination. The locals and the workers from the observatory watch them as they pass by. They get confused when they see a disheveled-looking Stein emerge from the woods. They realize that they are surrounded and start to scream when they begin to approach them with glowing green eyes. Meanwhile, in the boys' cabin, the bachelor party is going just as badly as his presentation. Audun has set up a quiz about the groom, and it's not going down well with Casper, so Sebastian tries to spice things up by having them take shots and listen to music. Mikkel plays a song to Casper's approval as they start partying. Sebastian gets a bit jealous, so excuses himself. His old friend joins him, showing him a rare laser gun. He thought that they could play a few rounds like the old days, but Sebastian shuts that down and asks him to tone things down with Casper. Meanwhile, a possessed Stein tries to approach the cabin, but she is repelled by something, so she retreats for now. The following day, Hjordis, the sheriff of the area, who also happens to be heavily pregnant, responds to her dad's report of a theft. He runs a shop that is themed around the UFO phenomena, which draws tourists to the area. The missing item is a beer fridge, but the culprit left the beer. At least the criminals are responsible, as they don't drink and steal. Her dad suspects the Gullhellas, some local twin troublemakers. She gets a radio call from her deputy Benjamin, who alerts her of a disturbance at the troublemaker's house. Hjordis allows him to check out the issues solo, since he's almost completed with his training. During that interval, The bachelor boys have breakfast where Mikkel and Casper showcase their very questionable handshake to Sebastian's envy. He tries to make one up with his future boss on the spot, but it completely fails. After some deliberation, Sebastian tries to further entertain Casper by suggesting they play paintball to the boss's delight. Audun removes a component of Casper's expensive engine, forcing him to ride in the van. This will give Sebastian more opportunities to interact and impress Casper. The way Sebastian is behaving, one would think Casper is the groom. They arrive at the paintball venue, but the place is empty, so they decide to help themselves to the equipment and get started, hoping to pay when the operators come. Before they start, Audun has them all put their phones in a safe so that no one gets distracted. Mikkel discloses that he and Sebastian were European laser tag champs in their younger days. Casper seems genuinely impressed but loses interest when Sebastian awkwardly overplays it. As they play, Sebastian shoots someone thinking it's Mikkel, but it's mistaken identity as he's busy unloading some paint into a defenseless Audun. He alerts everyone, so they go check to see if the person is okay. The guys meet one of the Gullhella's twins unconscious on the floor. When they move close to inspect, he wakes up with his eyes glowing green and attacks the bachelor boys. Pelle gets bitten during the brawl, but Mikkel ends it by knocking him out again with a paintball gun. They quickly try to leave the area, but the car won't start. They go to check the motor only to realize that it's missing. At this point, Casper has had enough, so request for his phone so that he can call a taxi and get back to his life of luxury. Audun discloses that the phones too are missing, but the thieves left their cases for when they buy replacements. Sebastian remembers Audun talking about the observatory being in the area, so suggests that they head over there since it's closer than the cabin. He tries to reassure Casper that his safety is top priority, but he doesn't really seem to be moved by his words. With paintball guns in hand, the bachelor boys make their way through the forest to the observatory without much incident. Upon their arrival, they notice that the place is empty, so they decide to let themselves in. Mikkel and Sebastian go in to explore while the others stay outside to keep watch. The duo find a retro phone and make a call to the police station, where Hjortis answers. As Mikkel starts explaining the situation, the sheriff thinks it's all a prank given the stigma attached to the location, so she ends the call. Meanwhile, Stein and the other twin also arrive carrying a suspicious package. The outside team takes cover and give the duo an audio sign which alerts them to newcomers. They quickly hide in the basement. Stein orders the twin to throw the package in the basement. The duo gets startled when they check and it's a dead body. Stein hears their noise and asks her subordinate to go down and confirm that their victim is indeed dead. The boys overhear the command and quickly hide. Mikkel throws a rat on top of Sebastian to make it look like it was the rat that caused the noise. They continue to eavesdrop and hear the two discussing the whereabouts of Sebastian and his group. The twin uses some sort of hive communication to confirm that the group were at the paintball park. Stein orders him to search the valley and find them. Mikkel and Sebastian evacuate themselves soon after the possessed leave. Mikkel explains what they saw inside to everyone's disbelief. Pelle is happy that it is an alien problem, and not a zombie one since he got bit. When Mikkel looks at his old friend to corroborate the story, he throws him under the bus as he denies seeing anything in front of Casper. But he later admits that there were dead bodies in the basement. They are interrupted when they hear a bus filled with tourists get apprehended by the possessed. The bachelor boys move through the woods in a SEAL team formation looking out for potential dangers. They get spotted and chased by a group of possessed. Sebastian trips over and gets into a brawl with one, but gets saved by Mikkel, who uses his laser tag gun to headshot the possessed. This causes a green orb to vacate the victim's body. It tries to leech on to Sebastian, but Mikkel shoots it again, erupting slime all over his old friend's face. The duo make their way to the police station, where they try again to explain the situation to Hjortis, but just like on the phone, she doesn't believe them. He shoots her with a laser to confirm she's not compromised. She instead detains them on her deputy's request. While inside, the old friends get into a big fight. They are interrupted when Benjamin comes back with one of the twins. The duo gets defensive when they see him. Mikkel shoots Benjamin, which causes green slime to explode to the sheriff's surprise. They apprehend Gullhalla 1 and interrogate him. He reveals that the light inside them is a signal from an intergalactic light pulse. The duo also informs Hjortis about the corpses at the observatory. She immediately tries to call the police from the nearest city for assistance, but the twin signals others, who blow up the observatory, blocking all communications. Benjamin later wakes up with his senses restored. Sebastian suggests they come up with a plan. He assumes that the rest have probably been captured and sent to the location where people are turned. He remembers seeing the location on a map in the observatory where high light sightings were reported. Before they set off, the duo takes the officers to her dad's place, which is a lot more secure, and leaves them with a laser gun. Mikkel alerts his friend that he brought laser tag equipment, but it's in Pelle's car. They later make their way to the car, where after an encounter with some possessed, they get their weapon. They suit up and clear their way through waves of possessed using their famous combination. They allow Twin 2 to go so that he can lead them to the HQ. Meanwhile, Sebastian assumptions are proven right as Casper and the rest were captured in the forest and have now been taken to the aliens' HQ. Casper notices them removing his car's engine and tries to protest, but he's sent away. Back in her dad's shop, Eurydice tries to use an old radio to call for help, but she is laughed at when she explains the situation. Shortly after, a bus full of possessed pull up at the shop and try to enter. As they attempt to activate the shutters, the power goes out. Her dad goes to fix it, but he too gets possessed. Back on the shop floor, Benjamin tries to hold them off, but whilst the sheriff attempts to get the laser gun to work, her water breaks and she gets attacked by her dad. Eurydice fends him off with a barcode scanner and lightsaber. Her deputy gets overwhelmed as the possessed bust through the door. The officers have a last stand moment as they rush towards them. Elsewhere at the HQ, Casper has sold out his new friends to save his own skin by promising to get more of his engine for them because it outputs a lot of power. At this point, Mikkel and Sebastian have infiltrated and witness Casper's betrayal. They plan their assault too loudly and get taken into custody when they pop out. Audun gets possessed to everyone's protest. Sebastian sees Casper for what he is when he tries to get him to also betray his friends. But he returns the missing pieces back to the engine, which causes one of the HQ doors to open. A giant alien emerges while everyone bends the knee. It starts to operate the HQ, which happens to be a spaceship. Pele decides to fire some paintball round at it, which just gets the alien irate. It orders its minions to attack. Sebastian faces Stein while Mikkel fights Audun. After a brief exchange, Sebastian manages to activate the ultimate attack of the laser tag equipment, causing a huge explosion that destroys the light inside everyone, knocking them out. The giant alien falls too but gets back up and knocks the duo out Mike Tyson style. Audun also wakes up and sacrifices himself by facing the alien alone. This allows the duo to escape. The spaceship emerges from the ground and drops off almost everyone before leaving the planet. Meanwhile, Casper is left alone at a cave where he gets attacked by something that glows green. Back at the UFO store, the officers manage to survive the night as they are surrounded by unconscious people. 3 months later, Sebastian and Josephine have their laser tag themed wedding. They toast to their fallen friend Audun. It is revealed that the old-time friends have started their own laser tag business as they all run inside to play. Meanwhile, deep in space, Stein finally wakes up. Audun is still alive and alerts her that they are heading to the aliens' home world. He hands a gun as he warns her to prepare for war.